Okay, perfect. And I'm waiting on notification. Okay, great. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have an incredible guest with us, one who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than Mr. Nate Miller. How are you doing, sir?
Joshua, I'm good. I'm
Yes,
happy to be
sir.
here, man. I appreciate you reaching out. Definitely was a pleasant surprise to get your text, for you to reach out and chop it up. So I've been going down memory lane a little bit. I was even telling, the barista at Starbucks, I'm like, hey, I'm reconnecting with some folks, so I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The honor is definitely all mine and all ours. The first question we want to know is, I always talk on my podcast to people from London, from Africa, all over America, all over the world. And I always remind people that I'm from Naperville and just how much pride I have in being from Naperville North. For those who are watching, this is an incredible role model now, of course, as a husband and as a father. But when I was going to Naperville North, he was just a strong representative of a well intelligent, thought out man and an athlete. So me playing football and wanting to play basketball on a team like him, it was just phenomenal. What was your experience like growing up in Naperville?
Naperville was a great place for me to grow up, man. I felt pretty well supported. I think, it starts in the community. Back at that time, I was actually living in Lyle in the Green Trails neighborhood. So anywhere I wanted to go, I could get on my bike, I could ride miles and kind of cut through paths, basketball courts and things like that. So I grew up around a lot of nice families. And I think, as you mentioned, playing sports helped me make connections with my peers early on. And, man, it was, for the most part, I stayed out of trouble in school and things like that. I had an older brother that was kind of like paving the way, and he was your typical, firstborn, kind of wanting to do the right thing. He was the one kind of, maybe a little easier to parent, from my mom and dad. And I was the younger brother, probably a little bit more into trouble, wanting to fight and wrestle all the time, things like that. But Naperville was a great experience. Man, honestly, I think it prepared me, because thinking about Naperville, there's a lot of people at that time, a lot of diverse type of people that I was exposed to, from an ethnic perspective. And I think you go to college, you move on with your life, you get in the workplace, and I think you have to be able to understand, adapt, and appreciate different people's perspectives. So for the most part, man, I had a very positive experience in Naperville.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. And playing basketball, of course, I'm sure it was fun for you. What was it like playing football, and how has that impacted you in the future?
Yeah, I remember being, short answer is, man, playing football is really all I wanted to do when I got to North. So my older brother was 2 years ahead of me. He had kind of gave me the ropes about freshman football, sophomore football, varsity football. I can remember being in middle school, going to Naperville North games. And so I remember some of the older cats, the Lavelle Browns, the Astor Rogers, the Kavanaughs, man, like just a lot of people that, were really doing things. And I remember being younger and aspiring to be like those people that were ahead of me. So man, great coaching staff. That playing football was some of the most memorable experiences that I can remember from being at North. Had some coaches that I really still value and hear from to this day. It's inevitable, like on my birthday, even my middle school coach, he's in Colorado now, like he might reach out and say what's up, or I'll hear from Larry McEwen. In my adult life, I've stayed connected with like Stan Greshka prior to a handful of years ago, and everything else. So I think football gives young men confidence. I think you get tried in football, so you gotta figure out, like, what kind of dude am I? You learn a lot about yourself. Like, you learn, it's like, man, do I only want to play when it's easy, or when the going gets tough? What am I made of? So I think some of those principles, still stick out. And ironically, Joshua, my son played tackle football for the first time. He's 11. We live in Franklin, Tennessee now, and so he's trying to figure out his own path. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This thing, man, I can't get away from it.
Beautiful. And what position did you play in football?
I played a little bit of everything. running back, receiver, linebacker. And I think when I really got to, trying to narrow down a position, I ended up playing linebacker on defense primarily.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause that's I remember you hitting people very. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I was hungry to play. At that time, I didn't care really what position it was. I just wanted to be playing and having an opportunity to play a lot. And so, I think I had the advantage of probably coming in the freshman year, probably 5'10", 6 foot, something like that, probably like 170 pounds, so like I was, by the time I was a sophomore, 185 pounds, 200 pounds by, so like, there were some things that, were gifted that kind of allowed me to, have a leg up on people that might have been growing and developing later, things like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And are you still connected with any of your teammates, former teammates from Naperville?
Yeah, man, my crew that I was really rolling with at that time, Lee Robinson, Corey Downing, Jay McCarrons, Tom Nagel, I'm still very in touch with those guys, making trips, seeing each other, we've been able to support each other in weddings and life events and things like that. So yeah, I stay connected with a handful of those guys. Man, I still hear from my man John Boyasian, I still hear from Brandon Anderson on occasion. So man, from a family perspective, man, it was really strong. It's good, just to be able to have people that knew you back then and to check on them, and most everybody has done really well. They've been blessed. They've made the most of the opportunities that they've had. So we were running in some good circles.
Wonderful. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks, bro.
And no problem. And I remember just being in Naperville North and seeing you all wearing like the Black Pack shirts and stuff like that, just always being and just always being popular in school, man, and always yet still being humble. And I told my sisters, I said, when I first came on the team, you were older than me, but I remember you pulling me to the side and being like, man, listen, you got to put lotion on your elbows and you can't be scared.
Oh man, we definitely had jokes. We definitely had jokes, man. And man, it's interesting, going back and talking to folks that knew you 20 years ago. You're a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, man. I mean, you're immature, you're selfish, you're self-conscious, things like that. So sounds like I treated you respectably, man.
Yes,
so
sir,
you know
yes,
what I'm saying?
Sir,
like you never know. It's like I think overall I was like is good. I was pretty good to people, but I'm obviously you don't want anybody harboring any ill feelings of something you did long ago or whatnot. So man, it's good to get some positive feedback on my character at that time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I remember vividly you being homecoming king, correct? Or driving in the car like on the football. I don't know what.
Oh, like homecoming quarters, man. You remember more than I do.
Yeah.
You got a good memory, man. I do remember being on the homecoming court.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
At least maybe like freshman year. Like I can't remember. Maybe it must have been later.
I just remember seeing you on the thing in the car, and I was like, oh, I wanted to be like Nate Miller. You know what I'm saying? I remember that.
Dang, dog. Man, yeah. So it's amazing. There's a lot packed into that short period of time. And it's like the stuff that you remember, and then the stuff that like happened. And if you say something, it's like, oh yeah, I was on homecoming court. Like you kind of, put that stuff in perspective.
Yes, sir. Well, with such a positive outlook on life and things of that nature, what has been your greatest trial in life, and how have you overcome that trial?
Yeah, we all get tested. I think the first test that I realized that life in the world is broken, there is pain, like things ain't always going to go your way. I think I realized how blessed I'd always been until I get about 20 years old, and my dad suddenly passed away when I was in college. He had a pulmonary embolism. He was 49 years old. Just one of those things that you never thought would happen. And so that was just I think many people that are seeing this or yourself have lost people that are close to you, and I think just the timing of when that happens, it gives you different perspective on life and the value of life and time and things like that. I think I was telling you about my son. I've got 3 children. I've got 2 biological daughters, and I have 1 son that is Ethiopian that we adopted back in 2012. So it was more of an opportunity than a trial, Joshua, just that, there was something that we were equipped to do. We might have been doubting that. I'm thinking about, how you can finance an international adoption. I'm thinking about the quality of the home I lived in at the time. Do we have enough space? Am I a good enough father? You kind of start, like you start hearing things. You're not good enough. You can't make it happen. You don't have enough money. How are you ever going to do this? And, we just had to put our faith in God, and things started falling in line, and things were starting to be provided, and it strengthened our faith. And man, just kind of walking into that, I mean, that's one of the greatest decisions Ashley and I ever made,
Yes,
so
sir. Yes, sir.
yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what prompted that? Like, how did that come about? Because a lot of people want to get into adoption and maybe not know how, and like the pros and the cons and things of that nature. What made you want to do that?
I think early on, for reference, Ashley and I started dating my sophomore year in college. I went to a small school in Nashville, Nashville, Tennessee, called Lipscomb University. So we had been dating for a number of years, got married by 24, 25 years old. And, you start having those early conversations about, well, we want to have children one day. And if we couldn't have them naturally, would be open to adoption. So I think that was maybe like, and the answers were yes. And that might have been like the first seed that was planted. But my second biological daughter, I can remember being woken up in the middle of the night. Ashley's like, "Hey, are you awake?" I'm like, "Well, I am now. Thanks for disturbing my sleep." And she's like, "Hey," and she's pregnant, with our second child. And she's like, I hear the Lord speaking to me. I know that we have another child somewhere, and I don't know what that is. I think I know that we have a child that is, external to our DNA that's in the world. So, I was thinking it was the hormones. I was thinking it's just late at night, and that persisted over days and weeks and months, and then it came to, can we start praying about it and things like that. And, as soon as we started praying about it, things started happening. I started meeting people. I started having my heart convicted towards it. I kind of delegated a lot of the research and the, making things happen to Ashley, but man, we were bought in, so yeah. And I always wanted a son.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I always wanted a son. I'd always prayed for a son, and I would believe that I was going to have a son. And, just the way that it was presented wasn't what I could have imagined. And it's just been sweet, so it's great. Being a father is, it's something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be married, wanted to lead a family, have a family, and, that's part of, I know we're kind of jumping ahead, but I mean, that's just something that I wanted to leave as legacy. I had great dad, grandfather, other role models in my life. And, you think about emulating what was provided to you. So
beautiful. Yes, sir. Excellent response. And thank everyone who continues to like, share, and subscribe to the People's Podcast. My uncle, Minister Jamil, says that he loves Brother Nate's spirit, and he's a God-fearing man, and he honors that. Yes, sir. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay. Cool. Now, what made you in Naperville? I mean, I would hear all the women, what I'm saying, "Oh my God, they're gonna Nate Miller," woo, woo. What was it that made you, what was it that made you decide that you wanted to get married? Like when you went to college, what was it about your wife that made you say she's the one?
Probably the first woman that, quite honestly, would call you on your shortcomings. You know what I'm saying? I hadn't dated a lot, but I've been, talked to girls over a number of years, and she was the first one to really check. You know what I mean? Have backbone. Start calling out.
Yes, sir.
Fighting hard. Loving hard, fighting hard. Having highly intense dialogue, discussion, and she was. I hadn't seen that kind of commitment and fire and fight in a woman before, and so she was, very supportive of all the things that I was doing in school. And, just, man, I can remember being sick with meningitis in college and being like, this is the only time I've been this sick in my life. I was so sick. I was like, man, I could probably just stay in my apartment and die, because I'm too sick to get up and move. I ain't got the energy for it. I feel terrible. And, she was able to, check on me, like when you're down and out and you see how people respond, so like, you just, she was doing all types of wifey material stuff, but that's it, let alone being beautiful, being a God-fearing woman, having integrity, being someone that cared about her friends, that was selfless, things like that. So those are some of the main things. And then, you're young and you got natural chemistry and attraction and all those things. And, you don't really fully understand what love is at 20, 21 years old or something like that. But, she was someone we could figure that out together with.
Excellent. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give to future fathers?
Future fathers. I think like surroundings are a big thing. So like, look who you're rolling with. You know what I mean? like look around. Are the people gonna help you honor your commitment to your lady, to your wife? Are they gonna be people that allow you to slip and fall? Are they gonna be people that put up safeguards and help you do what you really want to be doing? I think for fathers, you got to figure out what is it that your values are in your household. What is it that you value? Do your actions reflect the things that you think you value in life? Are you taking actions? Are you planning? Are you consistent? Are your values, have you communicated those to anybody? Have you allowed anybody in your life to have accountability to who you say you are and who you want to be, and to the things that you think that you want to plan for yourself? So I don't know, man. I think admitting when you're wrong, a lot of folks, can't say, hey, son, hey, daughter, your dad was wrong for that. I'm not perfect. I'm gonna try to do better. I'm sorry, modeling that for your children, things like that. So those are the first handful of things that come to mind. But a lot of it just kind of comes down to purpose. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to raise God-fearing children that are going to be good citizens, that are going to love and be kind, compassionate to other people. I want to have a fruitful marriage and relationship with my wife. I want to be able to love my family, extended family members well. Like when you're a man and you're a leader of a household, there's a lot of things that you're responsible for. And I think it's easy to underestimate those things. And there's probably no way to fully understand that responsibility until you get into it. So don't be afraid to take those steps as a man, but give yourself some grace along the way, but know where you're trying to go. You know what I mean?
Excellent. Okay, great. Yes, sir. And thank you, Nate, for your wonderful information and inspiration. My uncle says that his daughter, he wants his daughter to marry your little brother. Do you have a younger brother that he can marry his daughter?
No younger brothers. No.
Yes,
so
sir. Yes, sir.
Hey,
and he said,
yeah,
he said that you're teaching. Well, he's a minister and he's been in the ministry for years. Do you plan on going into the ministry?
I think maybe not professionally in the structures of a church. I'm not planning to go to seminary school. You know what I'm saying? Just based on faith and life experience, I do consider myself a representative of Christ.
Okay.
And so if you are a representative of Christ, like, you need to know what Christ says. Like, you need to be able to accurately, advance his kingdom by knowing his word. And obviously there are areas of my life that miss the mark, and just trying to shine light on those and correct them over time. So, but I think so to answer your question, I think we're all in ministry of some type, right? It's just whether that's your profession or not. But we've all been called to reconcile, man to God.
Yes,
for those that put their faith, in that element and in that light.
Absolutely. Do you plan to go into coaching?
I've done some coaching, man. I have.
Okay.
I have done some coaching. So like a lot of it's just with like my kids, and I've been a youth coach for the last 12 years or so in the community. And so there's been some different things that I've done either at a church level or like a Metro Nashville public school level, speaking, reading to students, doing things like that. Those are some of the volunteer things that I've done. From a coaching perspective, it's, you know, my two daughters and my son. It's, you know, softball and basketball, just kind of helping out, doing some things like that. But I think at this point in time, you know, daddy ball is over. You know, my middle daughter's on her middle school basketball team. My son's in 5th grade. He's playing on some tournament basketball teams. I told you he plays football and stuff like that. So I don't know. I can't help. I do enjoy teaching, but I don't know. I think it's time to kind of like let that other leader kind of lead the kids, because
Okay.
I'm at the point where, you know, my kids listen better to other people than, you know, like we could be saying the same thing. I could say the same thing as Coach so and so, but they're tired of my voice, and you need your children exposed to other leaders that they respect and trust and things like that. So kind of letting go at the same time.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And thank everybody who continues to like, share, subscribe to the People's Podcast. And I can't wait to put this on YouTube. I just want to double back real quick about the meningitis. I didn't know about that. What advice would you give to other people who may be going through a physical illness and overcoming that?
Yeah, that's deep. I've been fortunate to, you know, like outside of like having COVID and recovering and things like that, it's I think hope and mental health is a big element to healing. So, you know, I think being careful about your outlook and the information you consume when you're sick, you know, has a lot, because, you know, you can trick your mind. You know, you can create anxiety, stress, you know, different things like that. So I don't know. I'd try to keep it simple. I think what you don't want to do is like go down the rabbit hole and look at all the WebMD articles and, you know, not get your rest and be stressing about stuff. And, you know, it's hard, man. Stay prayed up. You know what I mean? And, you know, look out the window, go outside, do things that strengthen your mental state, listen to music, do puzzles, things like that, you know, and obviously follow the information of your healthcare providers. That's probably the best advice I can give. But yeah, you know, I think when I was sick, I was being kind of hard-headed because I was young and I wasn't used to being that ill. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get over this. You know, I'm gonna be, yeah, I've got 105 degree temperature, 104, whatever it was at the time. I'm gonna be all right. It'll go away tomorrow. You know, I'm Superman still. And so I was being so hard-headed that I got to the point where I was incapacitated and like couldn't, you know, took all my strength to end up going to the hospital. So yeah, be smart, listen to your body.
Excellent. Okay, great. Yes, sir.
Thanks, bro.
Well, speaking of listening to music, what type of music do you like to listen to?
A little bit of everything, man. You know, I grew up listening to my dad's music, which was primarily like funk. And, you know, we're talking about the Ohio Players, Isley Brothers, you know, Pendergrass. Yes, you know, I'm trying to think like what's on the wall. Santana, Quincy Jones, man, just the Roberta Flack stuff, man. He was also into like Crosby, Stills, and Nash. He had a very eclectic music, Steely Dan, you know, stuff like that. So yeah. I was influenced by that. Obviously, I think the new Jack Swing era, like the Teddy Riley stuff, you know, like that. Yes, that is my favorite time capsule of music personally. Guy, Jodeci, you know, Michael Jackson stuff that was out at that time. New Edition, you know, like that, Belle Biv DeVoe, that sound is, you know, that's what I really love. But, you know, I play music, so I'm
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
You can probably see, you know, I got guitars and drums up in here, man. So, you know, I do, you know, we grew up in the 90s, right? So it's Green Day and Stone Temple Pilots and Nirvana and Alice in Chains and man, I Metallica, you know, I love that stuff too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can go anywhere. I can go gospel. I can go. I think like when you play music, you can appreciate all music. And I don't know if you remember, I was in band in high school.
No, I didn't know that. I don't remember that.
Yeah. I was in band. So I played percussion, you know, drums, xylophones, you know, all that stuff. So I've had a musical mind. And I mean, that's one of my passions. Like if I wasn't, I mean, look what I'm doing now, you know, since I don't play sports anymore, like music is what I'm still able to do at 40 years old. You know? Yeah.
That's amazing. I definitely didn't remember you in band. I just remember Coach McEwen saying triple option right and I'm at practice, and I'm coming around the thing, and I'm seeing you. I'm like, oh shit. what kind of linebacker is waiting on the other side of me to get past this line of
I was
scrimmage?
there. I was ready to blow somebody up. That's
but
right.
you play music, man. That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You play music.
Yeah, we just finished. I'm in a band called Forest in the Trees, and so we've been playing music, a lot of that grunge '90s rock stuff. We got into it, started rehearsing in the basement where you're looking right now. We've been at it 5 years, and I live in Franklin, Tennessee, and we got to the point where it's like, man, let's start getting gigs. Let's go downtown Nashville. Let's see if we can get legit venues, like legit bars. Would they appreciate what we're doing? So we've had a good year. We've done a couple live performances here in Nashville, and this past weekend we were in Tampa, Florida, playing at a local venue there, man. So we taking off, man.
That's a good thing, man.
But, yeah, we're not really taking off, but for us, we're taking off.
That's amazing. And my uncle says the funk when we referring to all the music that you were playing, and so you play Smells Like Teen Spirit, all that. Like you'll be playing all that and stuff. Okay.
All that Offspring. Yeah, man. What you want to hear? Yeah, you want to keep them separated. All that. We can play all that music,
yeah. That's good, man. And I didn't know you play music, man. That's amazing that you're still playing music, and that you are. Is there anything way we can find you on YouTube, or do you record any of your stuff?
Yeah, you can follow us on Instagram. We got a page that we're trying to grow followers. Obviously, the more people that care about what we're doing and subscribe and do all those things, you get it. I mean, you see what we're doing right now.
Yes, sir.
It kind of helps us gain traction. It makes us look more legitimate to venues that we approach, trying to find opportunities to play music and things like that. So our user tag is Forest in the Trees. FORRESTANDTHETREES. So it's Forest with 2 R's, Forest in the Trees.
I like that, man. And man, I'm trying to think about and you haven't got a chance to go back to Rib Fest and all that kind of stuff in Naperville to play or anything like that.
No, I didn't even think about that, dude. I haven't been to Rib Fest in forever. What type of bands they got? Do they really have like they got bands that they'll all play?
Absolutely. Okay, so what happened was my senior year. This is the burst of all of the B2K, New Edition. I mean not New Edition, new NSYNC, Backstreet, all the boy band pop stuff. So I got together with some people after doing air band. We like, yo, let's do a band. Let's we're gonna do like a singing group, get like a boy band going on. Sent all these videos to air band. They was like, if y'all don't play music, if y'all don't have no instruments, y'all can't.
Oh, it's like that.
Without the instruments, they wasn't trying to hear about us singing bye 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 or whatever. They was like, nah, if you ain't got no guitar, no bass or no nothing, you can't play. So yeah, they absolutely have a way for you to play music.
That'd be fun, man.
My sister Naima says peace as well, and man, thank everybody who's tuned in. What would you like your legacy to be, sir?
Yeah, from a legacy perspective, I'm kind of simple. I mean, my perspective is, if the world been going on this long, right, and where I'm at is like something really small on that spectrum of time, right? I know that I'm not going to say like what I'm doing is insignificant, but I'm being realistic about like how small I am in the universe, right? So I do have spheres of influence. I've got my family, which is my utmost responsibility. It's what I'm inspired, and it's where I want my best energy to go. So man, I just wanted people to my immediate family to be well loved by me. When I'm not here anymore, Dad was present. He was striving to do the things that he believed in. He was bold about those things. He still found time to take care of himself and hang out with Forest in the Trees or whatnot in the midst of taking care of all of us. So I think you just want to model that and have the people that come after you to pass that on. Really, it's just like for anybody to say I want to be like my dad, or I want to be like Mr. Miller who coached me, or I want to be like this gentleman that came to my school and read with us, or whatever it is. I mean, it's really that simple for me, man. Just to have anybody to see my life and to see something about it that they connected with and were inspired by, and to play that forward. So if I've touched somebody like that, then I would consider my life a success.
Wonderful. Yes, sir. Well, I wanted to stress to the everybody who's watching, can't wait to put this on YouTube, that man, in high school, Nate Miller was the guy that you wanted to be like if you wanted to, you know, be cool, play sports. And I know about the band side, I even know about the music side, so that just added on to it. But yes, sir, that's phenomenal. And I want to thank you for coming on. Man, once again, this means a lot to me, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off of the People's Podcast. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you for having me, man. Much love.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna look you up when I come to Atlanta. Man. I'm gonna look you up. We're gonna catch up, right?
Man, done deal. And now I know we play music. We got something in common, so it's like it's a done deal, man.
That's what's up.
Thank you very much. You have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.